There was a time when chocolate meant something special in Britain. It was the taste of celebration, a simple luxury wrapped in foil, a treat that felt honest. For generations, opening a bar of dairy milk or cracking into a Terry's chocolate orange was a ritual. You knew what you were getting: cocoa butter, milk, sugar, and craftsmanship. It was food. It was comfort. But walk down the confectionery aisle of any Tesco or Sainsbury's today, and you are walking through a graveyard of British heritage. The names on the wrappers are the same: Cadbury, Galaxy, Nestlé, Terry's, but what's inside has fundamentally changed. Gone are the days when chocolate was made by Quakers who cared about social welfare and product purity. Today, the British chocolate industry is run by global conglomerates and hedge funds who care about one thing only: the balance sheet. Slowly, quietly, and deliberately, they have dismantled the recipes we grew up with. They have swapped expensive cocoa butter for cheap vegetable fats. They have replaced skilled conching processes with chemical emulsifiers. They have shrunk the bars, thinned the packaging, and jacked up the prices. We are paying more for less. But it's not just about getting a smaller bar, it's about getting a worse one. The melt-in-the-mouth texture of the 1,990 seconds has been replaced by a waxy, sugary sludge that coats your mouth but never truly satisfies. And the worst part? They did it right under our noses. They relied on our nostalgia to blind us to the reality that we are eating flavored oil and sugar, not chocolate. This isn't just about snacks. It is about the systematic destruction of quality for profit. From the scandalous takeover of our most beloved brand to the hidden toxins in children's treats, here are the 5 worst UK chocolate brands that have betrayed the British public and why you should never buy them again. 1. Cadbury, the Great Betrayal. If there is one brand that symbolizes the decline of British food standards, it is Cadbury. For over a century, Cadbury was more than a company. It was a national institution. Founded by John Cadbury, a Quaker who believed in purity and temperance, the brand was built on the promise of a glass and a half of full cream milk in every half pound. It was richer, creamier, and undeniably British. But that story effectively ended in 2010. That was the year Cadbury was hostilely taken over by the American conglomerate Kraft Foods, now Mondelez International. At the time, Kraft promised to honor Cadbury's heritage. They promised to keep factories open. They promised not to mess with the recipes. They lied almost immediately. The changes began. The first casualty was the soul of the chocolate itself. Traditional chocolate making relies on cocoa butter for that luxurious melt. But cocoa butter is expensive. So, slowly, the new owners began tweaking the crumb, the base mixture of milk, sugar, and cocoa. Connoisseurs noticed the difference instantly. The texture became waxy. The snap was gone. The chocolate didn't melt on the tongue. It dissolved into a greasy film. Then came the creme egg scandal. For decades, the shell of a Cadbury creme egg was made of dairy milk chocolate. It was sacred. But in a move that shocked the public, Mondelez quietly switched the shell to a cheaper, standard cocoa mix. They didn't announce it on the front of the box. They didn't tell the press. They just did it, hoping no one would notice. When people finally did, the company's response was insulting, claiming it was what customers wanted. It was a masterclass in gaslighting. But the deception goes deeper than flavor. It's chemical. Look at the back of a modern Cadbury bar and you will see an ingredient called polyglycerol polyrichinolate, or PGPR. In the old days, to make chocolate flow through the factory machines, you added more cocoa butter. But PGPR allows manufacturers to reduce cocoa butter while keeping the chocolate flowing. It's a cost-cutting cheat code. It's why modern Cadbury feels oily rather than creamy. You are eating a product engineered for industrial efficiency, not human enjoyment. And let's talk about shrinkflation. The standard dairy milk bar has been shrinking for years. The rounded edges they introduced weren't an aesthetic choice. They were a way to shave off grams of chocolate without changing the dimensions of the wrapper. In 2012, a bar was 49 grams. Today, it's 45 grams or less, yet the price has nearly doubled. They are selling us air and calling it value. Cadbury trades on its history, using the purple packaging to trigger your childhood memories. But the liquid inside that wrapper is a zombie, a lifeless imitation of what it used to be. By continuing to buy it, we are validating their strategy of profit over quality. 2. Quality Street, the plastic revolution. Christmas in the UK used to mean one thing, a heavy metal tin of Quality Street. It was a symbol of abundance. The smell of the tin when you first opened it, a mix of toffee, chocolate, and fruit creme, was the scent of the holidays. But today, Quality Street stands as a depressing monument to modern manufacturing. The first thing you notice is the tin itself. It's gone, replaced by a flimsy plastic tub that cracks if you look at it wrong. The weight has plummeted. In the 1,980 seconds, a tin was nearly 2.5 kilograms. Today, the standard tub hovers around 600 grams. It's a shadow of its former self. But the real crime is inside the wrappers. Or should we say, the lack of wrappers. Nestlé, who owns the brand, recently replaced the iconic shiny, jewel-like foil and cellophane wrappers with dull, wax paper packaging. They claim it's for the environment, a classic greenwashing tactic. While reducing plastic is good, let's look at the reality. The new paper wrappers often don't seal properly. This leads to the chocolates blooming, turning white and stale before you even get them home. The magical sparkle of the box is gone, replaced by what looks like discarded sweet wrappers. And the selection? It's a calculated insult. Everyone knows the toffee penny and the orange cream are the cheaper chocolates to produce. They are mostly sugar and glucose syrup, with very little expensive cocoa. Coincidentally, these are the ones that seem to fill half the tub. The premium chocolates, the green triangles, the purple ones are becoming endangered species. You are buying a tub of sugar glucose filler. The chocolate quality itself has taken a nosedive. Quality Street chocolate is now notoriously sweet, with a grainy texture that screams of cost-cutting. It's compound chocolate in spirit, if not in name, relying heavily on vegetable fats to maintain stability on the shelf for months on end. Nestlé has engineered a product that can survive a nuclear winter, but can't survive a taste test against its own history. The magic moments they advertise are gone, replaced by a hollow, plastic experience that costs £5 for a tub of disappointment. It is a brand that relies entirely on the fact that you buy it out of habit once a year. They know it's bad, they just know you'll buy it anyway. Toblerone, the broken peak. Toblerone was once the king of duty-free. The triangular prism was a symbol of Swiss excellence. It was unique, dense, and difficult to eat in the best way possible. It felt substantial, but in recent years, Toblerone has become the laughingstock of the chocolate world and a cautionary tale of what happens when accountants run a kitchen. The trouble started when Mondelez, the same destroyers of Cadbury, decided that the 400 grams bar was too expensive to produce. Instead of simply raising the price, they decided to change the shape. They widened the gaps between the chocolate peaks. The result was a bar that looked like a bicycle rack. It was visually ridiculous and instantly hated. It wasn't just about getting less chocolate, it was about ruining the structural integrity of the bar. The snap was gone. The mouthfeel changed. It felt like a knockoff of itself. Although they eventually backtracked on the shape after massive public outcry, the damage to the brand's integrity was done. But the physical shape is the least of the problems. The real issue is the identity. For over a century, Toblerone could legally call itself Swiss milk chocolate. That label matters. Swiss chocolate laws are strict. They demand high percentages of cocoa butter and milk from Switzerland. It's a guarantee of quality. However, Mondelez recently moved some production to Slovakia to save money on labor and ingredients. Because of this, under Swiss law, they were forced to remove the Swiss milk chocolate label from the packaging. They also had to remove the iconic image of the Matterhorn mountain. Think about that. The chocolate is now so far removed from its origins that it is legally forbidden from using its own national identity. What you are buying now is not Swiss excellence. It is a globalized, mass-produced nugget of nougat and sugary milk paste that happens to be shaped like a triangle. The honey and almond nougat, which used to be crunchy and distinct, often feels sticky and lost in the overly sweet chocolate matrix. Toblerone is no longer a premium gift. It's a symbol of how global supply chains erase local quality. They stripped the Swiss out of the Swiss chocolate, but they kept the price just high enough to trick you. 4. Kinder, the health halo lie. Kinder marketing is a masterclass in manipulation. The very name means children in German. The packaging features pouring milk, bright white colors, and slogans emphasizing more milk, less cocoa. They have successfully convinced millions of parents that Kinder chocolate is somehow a lighter or safer option for kids than a standard chocolate bar. It's a snack, not a sweet. This is a dangerous illusion. If you look at the nutritional breakdown, Kinder chocolate is essentially solid sugar and fat. A standard Kinder bar is over 50% sugar and nearly 35% fat. The milk content they brag about is mostly powdered milk concentrate and whey powder cheap fillers that boost the protein count slightly but are primarily there to dilute the expensive cocoa. You aren't feeding your child a dairy-rich snack. You are feeding them a sugar bomb that spikes insulin and trains their palate to crave hyper-sweet processed foods. But the nutritional profile is only half the story. The real horror lies in the production standards. In 2022, Ferrero, the owner of Kinder, faced one of the biggest food scandals in recent history. A massive salmonella outbreak was traced back to a Kinder factory in Belgium. This wasn't just a minor contamination. Hundreds of children across the UK and Europe fell ill, some hospitalized with severe symptoms. The investigation revealed that the factory knew about the salmonella presence in a buttermilk tank months before the public recall, but attempted to fix it internally to keep production moving. They prioritized keeping the assembly line running over the safety of toddlers. When the news finally broke, it shattered the image of the trusted family brand. Yet, walk into any shop today and the Kinder Surprise eggs are back on the shelves as if nothing happened. The memory of the public is short, and Ferrero banks on that. But the risk remains. This is a product mass-produced in gigantic industrial vats where safety protocols failed catastrophically. Furthermore, the environmental cost of Kinder is staggering. The palm oil used in the creamy filling is a major driver of deforestation, despite Ferrero's claims of sustainability. The sheer volume of plastic waste generated by Kinder surprise the yellow capsules, the foil, the toys that break in 5 minutes and end up in landfill is an ecological nightmare. When you buy Kinder, you are buying into a system that markets sugar as health, hides bacterial risks, and pollutes the planet, all while targeting the most vulnerable consumers, your children. So, why does this matter? It's just chocolate, right? Wrong. This matters because it is a reflection of how we are treated as consumers. These companies, Mondelez, Nestlé, Ferrero, Mars, operate on a model of frog boiling. They make tiny cuts to quality, tiny reductions in size, and tiny increases in price year after year. They think we won't notice. They think we are too addicted to the sugar and the brand names to care. They have taken a product that used to be a source of national pride. British chocolate was once the envy of the world and turned it into a homogenized, sugary commodity. They have normalized the taste of palm oil. They have normalized the presence of chemical emulsifiers. They have normalized the idea that a treat should leave a greasy film on the roof of your mouth. When you buy these brands, you are voting for this system. You are telling them, it's okay to rip me off. It's okay to feed me chemicals. It's okay to ruin the recipes I loved. But there is a choice. The UK is currently seeing a boom in bean-to-bar chocolate makers, small, independent companies that are doing things the old way. They use real cocoa butter. They source ethically. They don't use PGPR or palm oil. Yes, they might cost a little more than a bar of dairy milk, but you are paying for food, not filler. You are paying for flavor, not marketing. The next time you stand in that aisle looking at the purple, red, and brown wrappers, remember what lies beneath the foil. Remember the empty promises, the plastic waste, and the corporate greed. Don't settle for the ghost of chocolate past. Put the bar back on the shelf. Walk away, because the only way to force them to change is to stop buying their lies. It's time to rediscover what real chocolate tastes like. And trust me, you won't find it in a petrol station value pack.